everyone, and thank you for joining us for another in the Tourism Linkages Network from the Knowledge Network. And today we are discussing destination weddings and its impact on Jamaica and the benefits to Jamaica. We have a sterling lineup of presenters this morning, and my name is Nicola Madden Gregg, and I'll be moderating this session. So, in my own day to day job as Group Director of Marketing and Sales for the Courtly Hospitality Group, we do both urban weddings in our Kingston hotels as well as weddings in our North Coast property, the Holiday Inn Resort. And destination weddings continue to grow and expand throughout. And Jamaica is one of the hot spots for destination weddings. And our panelists today will tell you all of the reasons why Jamaica is the number one spot, but also to let you have a deeper meaning and understanding to the full impact of destination weddings and why, even though Jamaica is doing so well in this market, there is still a lot more that we can benefit from, because this is something that will never go away. Anyone planning to get married this year? Listen in. So, who do we have to talk with us this morning? We have Donnie Dawson, who is the Regional Director for the Jamaica Tourist Board, and Donnie is based in North America. Donnie joined the Jamaica Tourist Board in its Kingston headquarters as a sales representative some time ago. I won't say how many. And Donnie continues to bring a sense of dynamic energy to our office overseas. He's an avid golfer and has been involved in many celebrity players tournaments, the Travel and Leisure Golf Invitational Pro-Am, and the Jamaica Invitational Pro-Am, and his revenge. Donnie will lead us off this morning. And then after Donnie speaks to us, we will be moving into some more details from Peter Shuker. Peter has been a certified event and wedding planner for over 20 years in the industry, and he has partnered with many marketing wedding platforms and has produced the I Do Jamaica magazine, as well as the very popular Jamaica Bridal Expo. He also does the Brides Expo in Florida. He is a Jamaica travel and wedding specialist and a certified wedding and event planner, and he will be sharing his insights with us as well. Then we move on to Marsha and Donna Brown, who I've known forever. FIU, go Marsha. And Marsha is the Director of Romance and looks for Luxury Included Sandals Resorts International. Marsha will be sharing her insights as a self-acclaimed lifelong romantic, and she will be giving you more information on the dynamic side and her role as a director of romance. She is a fantastic person, and as she says, no bride wants to replicate another couple's wedding day festivities, and so customization is paramount. So we will welcome Marsha as she gets into more details for us. Last but not least, we have Kimberly Dunkley, who will be sharing with us insights from a wedding planner perspective and an event planner perspective. She has over 15 years in the business, and Kimberly herself, as a married lady, as Watkins, Kimberly Dunkley Watkins, has created unforgettable experience for clients throughout Jamaica and in several cities across the United States. She has worked as the largest food and wine festivals in the US for the past 18 years and has been integral in creating music and food-focused events in Jamaica. So ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have a great lineup for you this morning. And we're going to start out with Donnie Dawson, our Deputy Director of Tourism for North America. Donnie, over to you.
Thank you, Nicola, and good morning, everybody. When I was asked to sit on this panel, I did a little destination weddings. You know, sometimes we take it for granted. We know how big it is, but we sometimes look at it and say, it's just a destination wedding, and don't really dive into the scope and the depth of how large this market is and how deep it is and the benefits. And what I want to share with you, because I went around and I went to some of my partners in the US and said, hey, talk to me a little bit about this destination wedding business. So I'm going to share with you some numbers that it did surprise me a little bit when I got into it, but more so, I was not that surprised because we know how big this is. Go. So I went to perhaps the largest destination wedding provider in the US and Canada. Excuse me. And that is destinationweddings.com. And I said to the folks here, talk to me about how deep is this business? Really, we work along, we've been working together for many years, but I've never really dived in and hear from you how big this is. So let me tell a little bit about destinationweddings.com before we dive into the data. Destinationwedding.com has about 200 sales executives across the US and Canada. And their job is to go out within their sales territory and solicit and find destination and folks that want to do destination weddings throughout the world. Go. So here is some of the things that Destination Weddings shared with me and some of the things that I also found out. There's approximately 1 in 4 destination wedding, 1 in 4 weddings are destination weddings. There are 340,000 destination weddings a year. About 70% of these weddings are in the continental US and 30% are in the Caribbean and Mexico, Hawaii. And that's, of course, a small percentage as well. So we're going to dive into the Caribbean. Go. Jamaica continues, believe it or not, Jamaica continues to be the heavy leader in all Caribbean destination weddings. In fact, a recent study showed that more than 1 in 3 Caribbean destination weddings take place in Jamaica. Amazing, really amazing. I did not know this, but it just goes to how big this market is. An average of 30 guests attend a destination wedding. Approximate cost of an average destination wedding in the Caribbean is $8,237. Just do the math. Just do the math, and you'll see how much money is involved here. Couples costs, breakdown accommodations, wedding package, overall cost with guests. The beauty about a destination wedding is that your guests are going to pay. You're not paying for your guests. They are going to pay. So you don't have to worry about your guests. That's their business. Go. Average age of a destination wedding, 25 to 34. I saw some grayers like me are getting married on the beaches too. So it goes up. 55% of you initiated interest planning their destination wedding on a mobile device. Majority of couples engage in December, Christmas Day. Now, this is something I didn't know. You're going to get engaged on Christmas Day. Are you kidding me? Just give a gift and move on. Yeah. So Christmas Day, anyway. Majority of our couples begin working 1 to 3 months after getting engaged. Again, the most popular month for destination wedding is June. I don't know why. Because Jamaica is beautiful year round. You can pick any date. You don't have to pick June. But I don't know. June, probably Marsha can tell us why June. So the average overall cost of a destination wedding is $33,900. That is what the overall cost is. And the average number of guests, as I said before, 30, planning time 385 days, average number of nights stayed. Now listen to this is key. 10.5 nights. Can you believe the average overnight guest, well, stay over guest in Jamaica is about 5.5 nights. However, people come for destination wedding doubles the average to 10.5. Of course, I also, something new for me, but 60% come with kids. Go. Here's another that you love. Top destinations to get married in. Of course, Mexico, but look where Montego Bay is. Third, as that played out in one, that Jamaica is the top Caribbean and destination. So although Punta Cana is there, Montego Bay is number 3. Top emerging destination, look here, Negril and Ocho Rios. That I didn't know. Those 2 destinations within Jamaica are really taking off. So I share this information with you to say that this is a humongous market. Have we got enough? No, we have not. I don't think we have scratched the surface. I think more and more people are getting married. You know, marriage is something that never goes away. Oh, fortunately, unfortunately, I can testament I've been married for quite a number of years, and I appreciate Nicola didn't tell everybody how long I've been working in tourism and at the Jamaica Tourist Board. But 2 things, I guess, marriage and death, but we won't talk about the latter. So, but uh, destination weddings are big business, humongous business. Have we gotten there yet? No, we have just scratched the surface. And I'm sure our other presenters, especially Marsha Ann, will talk about, you know, where we go from here. I mean, how do we capture more of this business? So with that, Nicola, I hope I gave the audience enough data, some statistics on where we are as a destination and the importance and the length and breadth of destination weddings. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie. I think definitely we have got some good insights. I mean, the 1 in 3 Caribbean weddings happening in Jamaica is really a tick mark, and kudos for us. But I know, of course, we want to get that up to maybe 1 in 2.
Of course.
Donnie, I know you were wondering why people get engaged on Christmas Day. Well, 1, family is around, and 2, that's the gift. One less gift to buy.
Well,
but we continue to see a little, you know, the energy behind destination weddings. And maybe you could just quickly say a little bit about, you know, how JTB continues to position Jamaica. You know, the shows you attend. Just give our audience a little bit of a highlight. Nothing long, just showcasing a little bit about that side of things.
Sure. We attend all the bridal shows throughout the U.S. We also engage, of course, the sales specialists within the destinationwedding.com sales network. We engage them on a monthly basis through webinars, and we engage our hotel partners with them also. We do, of course, as I said, bridal shows that within all the cities throughout the U.S. But with destination weddings is top of mind with us. We have special farms with destination wedding specialists that specialize in that area, that we bring them down and showcase Jamaica. So it's something that we do, Nicola, continues. There's one more thing I wanted to add where Jamaica is separate from the other destinations in the Caribbean, is that we have airlift coming out to the US. We have excellent air service coming out to the US, more so than a lot of our Caribbean neighbors. So, you know, when somebody gets and they're from Miami, for argument's sake, they're going to pull their relatives and friends and family from all over the US. And accessibility is key. How do you get to that destination? So we're sitting very good in that we have good air capacity.
And we have that capacity not only out of the US, but also good lift out of the UK and Canada and out of the Caribbean, because we're actually seeing a lot more of our Caribbean neighbors coming to Jamaica for a destination wedding. So, you know, we are a destination that people find very attractive. So now we're going to move on to Peter Shuker. And Peter is going to give us a little bit more insight as someone who plans trade shows and carries out trade shows in market, and give us some details on what that entails and how you could participate, those of you who may be interested in getting into that side of things. Peter, over to you.
Hi, Nicola, thank you. Thank you to the organizers for having me, Nicola Madden for being the moderator on this very important discussion. It's an honor to be on this panel with such experienced wedding professionals. I welcome Marsha and Brown, Mr. Donald Dawson, Deputy Director of Tourism Americas, and Kimberly Dunkley and Watkins. Donnie, I think you read my notes, but I'm going to step it up a little bit. It's been a hard 18 months. I'm excited on what will happen in the destination wedding and honeymoon business for summer 2021 to 2022 and beyond. It is also very important for us to understand the numbers and the value of this business and how it can turn Jamaica around in a very short time after a massive fallout in this business due to the pandemic. So why get married in Jamaica and what's the benefit? Ease of travel. There's so many gateways that take you to Jamaica. Year-round beach weather. This is very important for brides. World-renowned beaches. Well, just step out of your hotel room or just step out to your villa. There's a white sand beach right there. Stunning natural landscapes everywhere you turn. The most beautiful locations around the island on and off property. And unlike many Caribbean countries, everything you need is available for your special day in Jamaica. So let us now understand why we need to promote, and more promote Jamaica as a leading wedding destination. I do not feel personally that we are doing enough. We're doing a lot, but I don't think we're doing enough. The average cost of a destination wedding in Jamaica. So according to the US News, and I have to keep saying US for a reason, I'll soon tell you why, Jamaica is among the top 3 most affordable wedding destinations in the world. An average destination wedding couples spend, I heard some figures a while ago, between 10 to 20,000 on a wedding in Jamaica. This includes everything from international travel to wedding packages, the honeymoon stay. But in comparison to the wedding in the United States could cost a couple up to $30,000 and more. So Donnie said it, I'll say it again. 1 out of every 4 weddings is a destination wedding. 350,000 destination weddings take place annually. The average number of guests at a destination wedding has actually gone up. Worldwide, it's about 86. In Jamaica, it's between 30 to 50. This will increase in 2022 when many weddings have been postponed in 2020 and 2021 due to the pandemic. This will fill many room nights, increase business to tour companies, and will bring back many jobs that were lost over the pandemic. And it's sad, over 300,000 jobs were lost. Jamaica continues to be heavily leader in the Caribbean destination wedding. In fact, the study showed that 1 in every 3 Caribbean destination weddings, as Donnie said, takes place in Jamaica. So this netted a whopping 35% of the votes. The average spend in a destination wedding is $20,000. If you include the honeymoon and the travel expense, you can expect to add another $5,000 to $10,000 to that. If we tap into this market, we can use this to bring back the event and planning companies to positive income and to turn around the hotels, villas, and venues that have lost so much in the last 18 months. Just to speak to honeymoons. The average length of a honeymoon is 8 days. 1.4 million honeymoons take place every year in the United States, and $13 billion a year is spent on the honeymoon industry. I talk about the USA as they are a major market for destination weddings along with Canada. Just a footstep away. We don't have to go too far. So the most popular place for luxury honeymooners, and I was speaking to somebody very big in the industry the other day, we don't really understand the luxury honeymooners, Europe, and then the Caribbean. So if we are top 3 and we're coming to be number 1, we should be able to, Jamaica should be able to get those luxury honeymooners that spend a fortune. 72 billion is spent on weddings each year. 72 billion in the US each year. 300 billion is spent on weddings worldwide. 300 billion. So, did you know, and this is, I hear Donnie saying, kids come and Did you know that an estimated 35% of all destination weddings are second marriages? Beaches did that for a reason. This will allow not only to fill couples type resorts, but also fill family resorts, villas, and many offsite bookings will take place. We don't have to look far to get business. Just across the shores alone in the USA, 2 million weddings took place in 2019, just before the pandemic. And if you want to go a little closer to that, just alone in Florida in 2019, there are 170,000 weddings, bringing in a whopping $3 billion US, times that by 150, if we can tap into just 10% of that. This is why Jamaica can't afford to stop spending money in marketing, as many of these weddings that take place in the USA and other countries will take their honeymoon in another country and also celebrate their wedding anniversary, which people keep forgetting, in the same place they have their honeymoon. So just to close, and why destination wedding is now the key in making Jamaica the #1 wedding destination in the world, and why Jamaica needs to get back to business, but not business as usual, definitely not, but to think way out of the box to make a bride feel this is her home and her place she wants to say, I do. Destination weddings connect so many together. I keep hearing our great Minister of Tourism talking about linkages. The wedding business is the best example, bringing together hotels, guest houses, villas, photographers, videographers, florists, carpenters, production personnel, food, beverage, car rentals, tour companies, and the list goes on. We need to open safe, but we need to open fast. 10, Jamaica must stay on top and start thinking out of the box to attract more destination weddings, filling more rooms and return increasing our foreign exchange earnings. We must look at making sure that every guest that say I do in Jamaica also has their honeymoon in Jamaica and celebrates at least their first anniversary in Jamaica. This is how we will be the heartbeat of the world. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Peter, all our hearts.
I guess Peter wants my job there.
Oh my goodness. He's going to deputize under you, Donnie, the deputy for the deputy.
I don't think so. He's too experienced.
That's some very, very, very good statistics. And yes, definitely there is a lot that we could tap into, and there's definitely the revenue potential. I just wanted us to also look, as we go through this conversation, at all the diversity we have in Jamaica. I know we mentioned beach, 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 but there are a lot of brides now that are looking for something unique, and that beach wedding, which is fantastic, is like, can I do something different? Is there some other element? We see people in Jamaica coming to Jamaica now to get married in a castle, to get married at the mountain top. You know, maybe somebody wants to get married at the Blue Mountain Peak. You remember what we said, unique experiences. Jamaica is a very diversified island space. We have both mountain retreats, we have the middle of the island, we have the beach. So we are also probably limiting ourselves to the vision of the beach wedding. And we can look way beyond that because the diversity is there. The urban settings we've seen, especially in Kingston, we're seeing more persons who want an urban wedding experience. At Devon House is one of the venues that get a lot of play. We have a lot of great houses. We have things that are very unique and special to Jamaica and can give someone an outside of the box, as you said, Peter, wedding experience, and also an outside of the box honeymoon experience. So we in our own selves have to share that diversity. And to help us share that diversity, Marsha Ann Donaldson, my schoolmate, is going to get into a little bit more detail on what her insights are for the destination wedding market and how Jamaica can really broaden, what our offerings are and showcase that diversity. Marsha, over to you.
I'm so highly passionate about this subject, and I consider it such a blessing and an honor to have been invited. Speaking on the heels of Donnie and Peter could be a challenge because really they have laid such a great foundation for everything that I'd like to say. And I commend that this actually is taking place. So I'm going to speak in a very broad fashion, and then I'm going to go a lot more granular. The foundation has been laid without a question. I believe I want to first speak about the resilience of everyone that supports this industry, because it has been a challenging year, to say the least. But what I want us to be mindful of is that folks are ready, and weddings is a forward planning business. And the more excitement we get out there, we at Sandals, we are the largest producers of destination weddings because we are definitely the dominant ones across the Caribbean. But specifically to Jamaica, and to Donnie's point and Peter's point, the gateway access for here is one of our biggest pluses. But let's talk about why people choose destination weddings. They don't want to duplicate what they have at home. What's the beauty about Jamaica and why are they coming here? So they want their weddings to be fun, memorable, and exciting. So keep those three pillars as a focus of why. The other thing that they want is that they want their weddings to be authentic to where they are coming. Think about everything that makes Jamaica the ultimate for us. I don't know what just happened to my screen. So I'm going to share some of the things that we are doing within Sandals since we have actually had the pandemic, and we're saying, let's get back to happier days. What we want to remember is that the destination wedding business is not limited to the ceremony only. I think a lot of times we focus on the ceremony events. Folks are getting married in Jamaica. Folks are renewing their vows. Renewals are going to be bigger than before because a lot of folks during the pandemic had to postpone coming to our destination. So they got married at home, but they never got a chance. So they did the legal element at home, but they never got a chance to fulfill having that dream destination wedding. And that's where Jamaica comes in. And that's what we're seeing a big resurgence of. In fact, out of our total occupancy, destination weddings for us are occupying about 20-25% of our total business. So we know that love conquers all. What does everyone want to know? They want to know what the protocols are saying. So like everyone else in the business, we know that protocols are going to be the pillars of strength for us. So we have protocols that are specific to the resort, but we have protocols that are in place for the actual ceremonies and the reception. So all of us in the event management space, we understand that our capacities have to be reduced. Where we would normally host 100, you're now hosting 50. But can we talk about this collectively, that the strength of Jamaica, not just for our brand, but the strength of Jamaica in general, you want to promote, to Nicola's point, our outdoor locations, that every aspect of a wedding experience can, Kimberly is nodding her head in agreement that she can be hosting a ceremony that could be beautifully done in the gardens or in the mountains or by the beach. And the same is true for the cocktail party as well as the reception. So it's time that we start engaging these amazing pluses that we share for our outdoor functions. But can we admit to something? Love cannot wait. Love doesn't wait. While someone might choose to postpone having a frivolous, just a frivolous trip, let me take a 4 or 5 day stay. Love is not waiting. Love is saying, all right, the pandemic had put things on a pause, but I'm ready to plan again. And so they want to plan that multi-generational. Yes, Donnie, and yes, Peter. They're coming with friends and family, and they're coming with multi-generations to experience it. So what have we seen as a brand? We're seeing that those who can't travel with everyone, we as a destination and we as suppliers and we as experts in the business, one of the things we kicked in was the ability for folks to know, come, still travel, and you can live stream to those who are at home and they have their version of your tropical destination wedding in Jamaica, but they're going to have the rum punch party while they're actually witnessing your ceremony and event take place. Unique differentiators. So in our case, we have an overwater chapel. 3 of them are here in Jamaica, but there are other unique features that we must capitalize on as we promote Destination Jamaica, because one of the things we haven't spoken about, Peter, you held up the heart. It's the heartbeat, but it's the heart of our people. People are coming here because of the heart and soul of how dynamic our folks are, the consummate professionals who put this together. Think of linkages now. So for a wedding to take place, there is the transfer from the airport. They come to the resort. They're engaging with people who are employed in the industry. You think of the officiants, so the ministers who are making this possible. You think of our floral designers who are here on the island. You think of the entertainment that supports it. You think of the decor, the design. So the number of persons, you think tropical, because they're not getting this back in their backyard. So this is a fusion of tropical, this is a fusion of mountain range, the sea, you know, we have it all together. Within us, we pull our folks in a minimum of 3-night stay, but we know that folks are staying beyond that, because what we want to remember for Jamaica, and within our case, within Sandals, we're saying from the moment you say I do, your honeymoon begins. So the longer you stay, the more you get a chance to enjoy. And beyond the resort, beyond that experience, we want everyone to know that the Love Is All You Need takes you to experience the destination. Why do people travel? They travel because they want a cultural immersion. They travel because they want to experience the destination. They travel because there has to be a story to be told. Now, here's a stat that no one spoke of yet, and I'm going to share it with you. When anyone gets married, 3 to 5 of their friends are actually getting married within 12 to 18 months. It means that when we host a destination wedding, it really simply states that the opportunity cost is phenomenal. The exposure through social media is exponential. And what we really want to be able to do is to ensure that we take the time out to say we've got the experts on the island. Every expert imaginable is right here. Jamaica is more poised than any other destination. And as the largest in the sector, I'm saying to you that hands down, the phones are ringing for us. People are planning ahead. Jamaica is a hot destination because the magic is here. The mystic is in the air. The love remains. And most importantly, from They Say I Do, we've got the best honeymoon destination. So it's time for us to really unveil the new Jamaica, the Jamaica that's suitable for micro weddings, the Jamaica that is suitable for customization, the Jamaica that will take authenticity to the next level and infuse technology for those who can't come and bridge that gap. As all suppliers can say, you can live stream from location. But remember, 3 to 5 couples getting married within 12 to 18 months, they're the ones that are looking to come because they're looking at their friends. So Jamaica is about love, romance, weddings, experiences, and making it all come together. That's what we do.
Thank you, Marsha. That's definitely what we do. And it's very important, as we both pointed out, as Peter and yourself in the last segment, the linkages, because of course, this is a forum held by the Tourism Linkages Network. The linkages that a wedding or a honeymoon brings to the island is quite deep, and it goes beyond just a resort. There, as you mentioned, there's the clergy, the pastors, the decorators, the florists, the transportation providers. But one thing we didn't mention is the souvenirs. There is so much, everybody wants to give away something, you know, that souvenir for their friends, both here who have attended, but also maybe to send back home. And this is an opportunity for persons to do e-commerce online, where just like you can live stream for those who couldn't attend, you could send your gifts to your various friends and family who are watching your wedding, and they get a nice souvenir from your wedding back home. So there are
Nicola, I have to interject about that for sure, because one of the biggest things that we're finding is exactly that, to add to the taste and authenticity. We have so much. And so whether it is the coffee, whether it's the sauces, whether it is the rums, I mean, they want it all. And we've got the best photographers and videographers and those who capture the essence of everything. And so gifting now has become so different, but really capturing the island and what we have as essences. We have soap lines, we've got teas, the amount of things that we have for gift experiences. And what folks want is that they want that emotional memory beyond the day. And
Yeah.
coming back to that, is a big thing.
And that's
Nicola,
it.
I know you're going on to Kimberly, but can I add a personal note to
You may
this?
add.
My personal note, my daughter got married in Jamaica, destination wedding.
Mhm.
And I won't tell you the whole experience, which was fantastic. It blew me away. But to what Marsha is saying, and what I think Peter said, you're saying about souvenirs. My daughter's name is also Kimberly, and she was looking for something authentic to give to her guests. Authentic.
Mhm.
And couldn't find anything in Jamaica.
Donnie, I don't
Hold
think
on. What she did was to find somebody to build and make something authentic. You know what she gave everybody back? They created this thing, a little Jamaica sand.
Mhm.
Little Jamaica sand. Something is simple. It is really not, but a lot of the things that she was looking for were made in China.
Well, I think you do have some things like that, but Donnie, we through linkages have hundreds of suppliers, and maybe we're not connecting, that produce authentic Jamaican art and craft and really bespoke, souvenirs that are the highest quality. I can tell you personally, I've bought them. There are things, as Marsha said, there are soaps, there are scrubs, they are craft
But
items, wooden items. There
I'm
are
sure
we have various things that are in terms of ceramics. The list
I'm sure, but I'm
and
sure
we will definitely.
Nicola,
Mhm.
but it needs to be cataloged
No, it is catalog. And
somewhere
maybe, as I
and
said,
say
maybe
here,
more
it's all
communication.
over the place. Anyway, sorry.
No, it is cataloged through the Linkages network. We have an online link, and I'm going to ask the team to share that at the end, which has all of these. We do Christmas in July, which is where a lot of this product is showcased across the island to the hotels. A lot of these products are carried by the hotels. The hotels actually come and look for things for their spas. They look for things for their groups as group giveaways. And Marsha is nodding her head because she knows we are in the marketing people and we buy these things. So Donnie, trust me, we will get the word out a little bit more, but it exists. There's lots of fantastic things that people can get in Jamaica for souvenirs that are extremely unique and can be customized. I mean, there is Barclays All in Wood. I mean, she does some of the most fantastic custom wooden designs as souvenirs for both group business as well as weddings. So we know the suppliers, maybe we need to get the word out a little bit more, but definitely at the end of the program, we will share that link so that everybody else can reach out to some of those suppliers who provide some of the most unique and distinct Jamaican products. So yes, if you maybe go to the shop down the road, you might not find what you're looking for, but we definitely through linkages have that ability. And I know our teams within the various hotels, those wedding professionals can definitely recommend some of that unique Jamaican and customizable and authentic items for souvenirs. So let's move on to Kimberly Dunkley Watkis, who does a lot of these kind of events. And Kimmy can also speak a little bit on that topic because I know she does a lot of customized things for her brides. And we will get a little bit more insight on the off-site experience as well as the hotel resort experience. Kimmy, over to you.
Morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on this panel with all of these brilliant tourism industry people. And big up FIU, Marsha. I didn't realize that we were kindred spirits on that. So, yes.
Yes, Kimmy, I forgot it's 3 to 3.
Loving the FIU travel and tourism alumni. So before I share my screen, I kind of just wanted to touch on some of the points that Marsha and even Donnie just alluded to a while ago. One of the things that we also need to elaborate on is the luxury wedding market. Those weddings that take place that are above that $20,000 to $30,000 price mark. We've had some brides who have spent in excess of $100,000, $200,000 on weddings. So that is also something that we really need to expound upon and think about, because if you think about even a South Asian wedding, imagine an Indian wedding that's taking place for 5 days. The magnitude of something like that and the reach of something like that is enormous. And I don't think people really understand and grasp that there's also the cultural aspect of it that takes place. And we are out of many one people. So we do cater to all different ethnicities, diversities, shapes, colors, and sizes. We have it all here. And so even speaking to Donnie's points about souvenirs, what I have found here too with a lot of my couples is they really want these things to be more personal. Not the run-of-the-mill item. So whether they're doing the 2-ounce coffee package with the personalized label on it, or they're going to hire in artisans like a Bauhaus, Dana Bauhaus, or they have a lot of new emerging artisans that have come up even through the pandemic as well. People have kind of explored their creative space a little bit more, and I think that we've done. We're so resilient that people have tapped into their creativity, whether they're making sandals or they're making these beautiful Beanie Bud, for example, who makes these beautiful little coasters and wooden things and exquisite wicker. There are just a multitude of options that we have now that are really tapping into the luxury side of things, not the run-of-the-mill type of thing. So one of the things, I've had many a conversation since the pandemic with some of these creatives, and one of the things that I don't think we really have recognized too is that a lot of our trade shows who would have exposed these local artisans have not existed. So to our marketing people, when we talk about things like Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest, those are huge untapped markets for us and marketing tools for us and for our artisans to utilize to showcase their work in lieu of having these in-person trade shows. Because of course, Nicola, as you know, I kind of dabble between the corporate side, marketing side, as well as the wedding side of things. I'm just going to screen share a bit just to show my presentation, which is just a few slides. So what you'll see here with some of the images are real weddings that I have done in a multitude of locations. So this one, for example, was at a private home, quite elaborate, pre-pandemic, 500 people. What I love about Jamaica are the multitude of venues that we have. So as you mentioned earlier, we have access to waterfalls, we have gardens, we have beaches, we have rustic ruins, we have cliffside. Just yesterday, actually, I went into a very untapped location in Gordon Town, which was a little treacherous to get to initially, but it was so beautiful when we got there. And I was just thinking to myself, Gordon Town, who gets married in Gordon Town? But people are doing it, right? Mountainside, of course, we have our traditional ballrooms and conference rooms, and farms are also a big deal to get married to right now. A lot of people are into the farm to table experience. The benefits to visitors. Obviously, there are a lot of versatile accommodation options for people. We mentioned that whether it's all inclusive, it's the villa package, it's a private home, it's Airbnb, small apartments. And what also is great is that this is vacation with a purpose. So as Marsha was mentioning, they get here, they get married, but they go straight into honeymoon. But it also becomes the family vacation, the extended family reunion that they didn't get to have or they've been planning for a long time. A lot of my couples use it as an opportunity to take their yearly vacation. So they plan the wedding and then plan their yearly vacation around that. So they extend their stay even longer. And then the guests eventually do that. The variety of non-wedding related activities. So when we look at things like dune buggies, coffee estate tours, when we look at Bob Marley Museum and all of that, one of the great things that's nice about getting married in any of the locations in Jamaica is that, the furthest distance that they would have to drive is 3 to 4 hours to get to the opposite side of the island, which means that they get a truly diverse experience when they're coming here. Now, in terms of our vendors, who I love dearly, for a lot of the offsite weddings, if we're looking on a smaller scale, I'm always engaging on average anywhere to 10 to 15 vendors, which are also companies. So if I'm dealing with a production company, that is considered a vendor, but within the production company, at least 10 people are on site for the wedding process. We are setting up the day before, we're breaking down the day after, and obviously on the day of the wedding. Marsha had mentioned Zoom. All of my weddings last year had a very immersive Zoom experience, and immersive from the point of it's not just a static camera that's there looking at the bride and groom going up the aisle, but they're looking at the groom's reaction, the bride's reaction as she's walking up the aisle, the guest reaction as they're sitting in the space. So don't limit yourself, if you are a bride or groom looking at this, into thinking that because I have to have a smaller wedding that my guests can't feel like they're there. Technology is an amazing thing. We have some great providers here who are offering a super immersive experience, almost to the point of I had a real-time couple last year that they had their cocktail hour, and the guests were able to see what everybody was doing during the cocktail hour. And then after that took place, the guests were able to watch the speeches take place. So it's truly an immersive Zoom experience now, and we shouldn't be afraid to embrace that. As we heard earlier, the economic impact of weddings is so huge. When you think about it, even if you're a wedding guest, you're buying something to wear, you are getting your hair done, or you're going to the barber, you are potentially getting your makeup done, you're potentially getting your nails done. Just in that instance of getting ready to go to a wedding, there are at least 4 or 5 people that are engaged in a service with you. So that trickle-down effect is real. Just showcasing some other weddings. That this one took place in Kingston at a private home in the garden. All 3 of these weddings were very different, in very different locations throughout the island. And of course, we have, as Peter would know very well, great fireworks suppliers as well. If you really want that wow factor, the photo to the right you see was up at Strawberry Hill with the infinity pool, completely different effect and different mood. And this one was actually out in Bogwalk. So I just wanted to kind of show this to show that there's so much diversity in wedding spaces, and so many options for people if they want to get married here. And I will tell you, I don't know what has happened in the past 2 weeks, but I've definitely been feeling the boom. People have been emailing, they've been calling, they've been sending wedding wire messages saying, hey, I'm interested, I want to talk, I want to figure out what it costs to have a wedding, what can I do? So the wedding boom is real and it is happening. I had a very enlightening discussion with a fellow colleague in Trinidad who focuses on destination weddings. And it must be Destination Wedding Week, because we had a discussion about all of this in the Caribbean, and discussing why Mexico is a very hot spot and why are other Caribbean islands hot spots. And one of the things that we spoke about was, are we ready as an industry for the post-pandemic boom? And that is something we really need to talk about and evaluate. We obviously have had a heavy hit, and some people have gone out of business or, reduced their staff complement. But I want to let everyone know who is on this right now, that is an industry professional, do not lose sight of the fact that we are going to get out of this. There is a sunnier side of this, and the people are engaged, they're ready, pun intended there. They're ready. And I mean, I'm even speaking to couples who aren't officially engaged as yet, and they're just thinking ahead as far as 2023. So if this is your passion, if this is what you love, and this is what you'd like to keep on doing and making dreams come true, just know that you still have the opportunity and you need to be ready. Use this downtime to educate yourself, come on these forums, do things, talk to other industry professionals, so you can be ready for when people are ready to engage services. And there's so much more that Jamaica can do to prepare themselves for it.
Thank you, Kimmy. I mean, that's definitely, really showcasing the diversity as we discussed, and allowing for our potential wedding couples to see, and the planners, we have planners online now, I'm sure, to see what elements they can incorporate into a destination wedding experience in Jamaica. So it's beyond the sun, sea, and sand, and we can give you, as we said, the mountainside experience, the river, the great house experience, or just a garden, tropical gardens. we have a lot of really beautiful spaces, some untapped, some very underutilized, that we can create some very, very unique and distinct experiences. So you can still stay within the hotel. You can still do elements of your wedding experience in the hotel, because of course we haven't talked about, you know, if you want to have a bridal shower, if you want to have a bachelor party or a groom's party, there, you know, if you want to have just a family dinner, you know, there are a lot of weddings I've seen now, even local weddings have a 2 or 3 day event. And so the time of the whole experience is expanding. So it's not just a wedding ceremony and reception. You see people having an after brunch on the Sunday if they get married on a Saturday, where they might invite other persons who maybe because of limitations due to COVID and other things could not attend the main ceremony, but could come to another event. I went to
And sorry, Nicola, I don't want to cut you, but I just want to bring up another point just because you both spoke about COVID. Because we've had to deal with this, especially in the offsite locations. Another great thing, and I'm glad that the medical fraternity has stepped up with this, is that we do have on-site COVID testing. And the great thing about weddings is that you can determine, you know who the people are coming. So there is that contact tracing ability. You know exactly who is coming, you know exactly how many vendors you're going to have on site. So the ability to test for your comfort, for the guest comforts, in addition to obviously the other protocols that they go through to get to the destination, exists, and they're easy to access. So they shouldn't be afraid to do that.
I think we're going to go a little bit more into the protocols. For sure, that's something, I mean, it's available on the visitjamaica.com website. You can get both the entry protocols coming into Jamaica, but also we definitely, from an event point of view, whether it's a wedding or any other event, we operate under very strict protocols that were established from last year, June, which are constantly reviewed and revised as needed. And we have had the opening up of tourism and our resilience corridor with tremendous success, and really have been able to host thousands and hundreds of thousands of visitors over the past few months who have left the island, you know, quite well with no trace or no evidence of any transmission between guests and staff or guests and guests. And so that's something that we're proud of as a country in terms of our adherence to our protocols. So as Kimberly says, you can feel safe. We have been trained, our team members have been trained, the events community has been trained, and we have certification of all the venues. So the hotel venues, the outside venues, they go through a certification process with the COVID protocols before they can be utilized as a venue. So that's something you can rest assured we have that covered.
Nicola, if you don't mind me just stepping in for 1 second. And yes, those hundreds of thousands of guests that have come, I think there was a count of, I can't remember the figure I got when we first opened, but 40% of them were weddings.
Yes.
That's huge for Jamaica. And we have a hotline here for weddings, for shows that we have. We have a show coming up in Florida on Western on the 20th of June. We are sold out. We have over 480 brides registered, whether they come or not. I capture all their details. Phone is ringing, asking about Jamaica. Are we open for business? I say we're open for business. So Western is open, Florida is open. Business is booming. Event planners are taking their business away and moving their companies to Florida. There's a carnival event coming up over the weekend in Orlando. So we need to get going safely, but we need to open.
Well, as you know, Peter, that discussion is far advanced in terms of events, but weddings are not fully impacted. We have that already in terms of weddings. As you said, 40% coming to Jamaica were weddings, and so that market is just going to expand even more. So online, we have a question here for Donnie Dawson from @Bougainville. Now that you know these stats, what can we do about opening off-resort weddings in Jamaica? And that's something we just discussed, that's in the pipeline. And we do have some off-resort venues that are already certified and are being utilized, but that's going to be expanded, and some are going through training and additional protocol training, which will be coming up. So I think by the end of this month, we will see more details on that. So I answered it for you, Donnie. Kiki on Instagram says, I would love to be a wedding planner locally in Jamaica. I will move from Canada. Anybody hiring?
So we have a training that we do through Wedding Academy. We're certified to train wedding planners in Jamaica. And when we certify them, they're certified worldwide through the Wedding Academy. So you can give us an email at idojamaicamagazine.com and I'll send you the details.
There you go, Kiki. Let me ask everyone a little bit of a question here. What would you think for Jamaica we should be our focus in terms of, as we said, pivoting a little bit, thinking outside of the box? What would be your number one thing that you would like to see us do to kind of move beyond being the having 1 in 3 weddings to being maybe the top number one, but not only just being number one, but expanding the numbers. So say, for example, and I'm giving this as a, for example, we're getting 1,000 weddings now for the year. I know that's not the figure, but still being number one, moving to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So let me get feedback from each of my panelists.
Who's going to start?
It sounds like you, Kimmy.
Wow, that's a very loaded question because there's a variety of things that I think we could be doing. I do think that we're underutilizing even some of the free marketing tools that we have. I can tell you that in the past year, Instagram alone for me has been incredible. The engagement has been amazing. People see with their eyes, they're visual. We are dealing with a 15-second rule right now. So you need to really think through what can I do to engage an audience in 15 seconds. Another big thing is responsiveness and response time. Having worked in North America and understanding specifically for the US market that they want instantaneous responses, not get back to me in a week. I think that there are some of those things, and I've heard this is from some of my clients, is that they've reached out to people, they have not responded within 2 days, 3 days. So I think if we want to try to capture more, those would be the top 2 things as far as suggestions for me in terms of capturing more business, is utilizing the marketing tools, really building up on your websites, networking, reaching out to people like Peter and Marsha and Donnie and yourself, Nicola, and saying, okay, here I am, this is who I am, this is what the services I have available, let's get talking. What can I do to engage you? How can you engage me? And then also being super responsive on time. I mean, I think I've gotten maybe 4 Instagram brides in the past 6 months. And it's just because I really engage with them the moment that I get a message from them. So even if they don't use me, at least they have the knowledge base to say, okay, this is what is available. There are many times that I've referred them to other planners if I'm not available or if I don't meet their price point. So the other side of that is, and I've said this very often on a series that I do, is community over competition. As we could see from the stats, there's a plethora of business out there. The business is insurmountable. So we should not be afraid to work with our other colleagues and collaborate. We can't be in 2 places at once. So we have a lot of professionals here who are great at what they do. And if you're not available, or if this is not the client for you because personality doesn't match or price point doesn't match, then don't be afraid to refer them to other people who have a good reputation in the business. Because there's so much for everyone. The pool is great and large.
Nicola,
let me just comment one other thing before you jump in, Donnie, to Kimberly's point. Definitely also WhatsApp. There is a lot that's now people are putting the telephone number and the email, put your WhatsApp, because that is also where a lot of dialogue happens as well. Yes, Donnie, go.
Sorry, I don't want one thing before I get into what I want to say. Kimberly, you touched on a point which is important. Response. People take a long time to respond, and creates the heck out of other people. And that is talking from my experience. I told you my daughter got married.
Yeah.
Where she couldn't get a response from the wedding planner on island. She had to come to me that I could jump in. But anyway, that is a very good point. It's a very good point. Well, she got married already.
Donnie, we're going to have to put you with some different set of people because
I know.
we are the people who respond on this call. We know
I know,
that.
but
So,
yes.
so yeah.
What I really want to talk about is the marketplace and how do we get more people? How do we get more destination weddings? Yes, you know, we speak English in Jamaica. That's a strong selling point. Never forget that. Before the pandemic, we have 11 BDOs in the marketplace for the Jamaica Tourist Board in the US, and we have 4 or 5 in Canada. One of the things that we were looking at, how can we now go into the hinterlands and talk to travel agents or destination wedding planners or destination wedding salespeople. You're talking about going into the Wisconsins of this world, the Minnesotas of this world, and talk to the travel agents and tell them how beneficial a destination wedding is. So now you can go out in your community and sell destination weddings for Jamaica. We arm them with all the tools that they need to sell and let them go out and sell, but teaching them the benefits of a destination wedding. So that is one of the plans that we had. Of course, COVID derailed that, but it's still back, it's still on the drawing board and we still will activate it.
Just to add to that, Donnie, and which for the planners who are on the line, a lot of the resorts and the hotels, their wedding packages and that they offer for travel advisors, those are normally sometimes commissionable. So there is an incentive, of course, to book. And of course, you'll get that professional service as well. So it is our job, as you said, Donnie, to try and get the word out more for people to understand the diversity, but also the what's in it for me as a planner, you know, how
Yeah.
I'm going to be supported both from the destination side as well as from the hotel and the wedding planners on the ground. What information can I garner? And as we said, you know, visitjamaica.com has a great microsite for weddings. They can also go there and see what is available. But there is always the ability to reach out to us here at either the JTB or the Tourism Linkages Network for more details on a variety of planners and suppliers to the industry. All right, so we
Yeah.
have a few more questions online.
Yeah, sorry.
Questions, Donnie, because the persons, this is supposed to be the Q&A section, so I'll come back.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
So what are the question is, I think it's a comment you made. So what makes Jamaica one of the cheapest wedding destinations? I don't think we said cheapest, but if you want to expand, I think either yourself or Peter, because I think you were comparing what a destination wedding in Jamaica is the cost versus having a similar wedding back home. So if you want to comment on that.
I said affordable. I said affordable, not cheapest, affordable.
Yes.
But I think Peter is the one that talked about the, so Peter, go ahead.
We are very affordable here compared to many other countries. As Kimberly was saying, people will spend up to 100,000 US abroad to have a wedding in Hawaii, in Vegas. So people can come to Jamaica and they can get married on a beautiful hotel property with the beach as the backdrop for the ceremony and the gardens for the wedding, or reverse it. And they can do it for $2,000 up to $8,000, and it comes with everything: the cake, the photographer, the videographer, the food. Very hard to beat that. Our property events are a little bit more, but we're still cheaper than most countries.
Let me expand on that a little bit. One more thing. Again, when my daughter was getting married and she chose.
You have any more daughters?
Yes, 2 more.
I think we could get more marriages.
Right?
Yeah, but anyway,
But
she did the wedding. When we talked about the wedding, if she was going to get married in Los Angeles, it was going to cost me, I don't even want to tell you, it would bankrupt me about $50,000. I said to her, why didn't you get married in Jamaica? She said, fantastic. It was a fraction, because I paid for it, a fraction of what it would be here in LA. In addition, she had 85 people. We were thinking of only 50. She had 85 people that came down. Hey, again, I talked about 10.5 room night, sorry, 10.5 nights versus the average length of stay of 5.5. The reason being, her guests came in and Kimberly went to the grill for her honeymoon. So she got married in Montego Bay, went to the grill for her honeymoon, and 20 of her friends went with her and spent another 5 days. So my point is here, the destination wedding really expands.
Right.
So
I think the important point to make in terms of affordability is that similar services, similar setups, similar sort of production, you can get the prices in Jamaica are much more attractive. So you're not going to be compromising on the experience, the quality, or the type of event that you want. And I think we just want to be clear. It's just that some things, some services in Jamaica come at a much more affordable rate than if you were to get that exact same service in the US. So you can have this, if you dreamed of having fireworks and you know, an elaborate production, you can do that here and the cost would be much more attractive. So it's not necessarily cheaper.
Right.
It's just that there are certain
Value. It's the value.
value for money. So you can
Correct.
spend that same $50,000 that Donnie is talking about, but get $100,000 worth of value because of some of the items that are different here. And
Can I answer the four things? Oh, I'm sorry, Marsha, go ahead.
Well, I was going to be responding in a pretty concise fashion to Nicola's question. How do we grow? And she just used hypothetically the number from 1,000 to 2,000. And I really want to undergird Kimberly's point. I believe if I were to keep it simple to say, focus on the C's. What is it that we need to be doing as planners and as the destination? You want to make sure that we are capturing the essence of what Jamaica is all about. The authenticity, you know, the fun, the memorable, the exciting, that we're more than just the beach. You want to capture that content, and then you want to embody the creativity behind how different the experiences can look. That nobody wants that cookie cutter. So what are we doing and how are we showcasing the creativity? Then within the planning world and the event world, we want to make sure that there's collaboration. How are we coming together with all of the different expertise? Jamaica has the expertise here. There isn't a sector, there isn't an aspect of the event business that can't be fulfilled in Jamaica. And then how are we collaborating, communicating, and making that a community by making sure, are we really getting the testimonials out there and repurposing that digitally? Because everyone now, especially in the wedding world, they will look to 3 to 5 reviews to make an informed decision. So can you imagine the collaborative reviews coming together as a community, and it's powering the engine that says, this is what you can get here in Jamaica, from the most simplistic wedding to the most elaborate wedding, and not forgetting the experiences that friends and family come for. So where are the bridal experiences? Where are the girls going? Where are the guys going? Are they wanting to go on this phenomenal excursion? Are we going to do cigar nights? And are we going to take them ziplining? Let's talk about, and you know, where's the entertainment so that they're feeling the rich authenticity. But Jamaica can be and will remain and can hold that #1 spot. We can move from that 3 to #1 and take advantage. We have not spoken about the legal side. Because we're English speaking, to do the wedding documents, to procure the wedding licenses, there are no translations required. Remember, you have to go through a translation process when you're dealing with Mexico. Right. Remember what it takes to get married there as well, to be admitted for a wedding. So it's time for us to position Jamaica from A to Z, why this is the place to be. Oh, that has a buzz.
Yes.
Yeah.
From A to Z.
That's a vibe.
If I could just jump on that.
Find something new there.
Yeah.
If I could just jump on that.
Yes, go ahead.
My 4 things would be, we need to focus on our motto and stop changing it. So whoever came up with the heartbeat of the world. Stick with it. Don't move to another one next month. That's the first thing. Stick with this and stay with it. The second thing is spend as much money as you have on weddings. Take, rest his soul, Mr. Butch Stewart. Didn't worry about spending, because the more he spent, is the bigger his weddings got and the more weddings came to him. Jamaica needs to understand marketing. You must spend the money in marketing. Don't be afraid. Just like how they spend it in this pandemic every day, saying ad about vaccine. If they were to take that resource and put it in our wedding business, we wouldn't have any rooms. And the third thing is hire the best team who understands weddings, not events and sporting events and Blue Mountain events. Hire the best consultants who understand the destination wedding market and how a bride speaks. I didn't become a wedding planner to do events. I became a wedding planner to understand how a bride speaks, the language she spoke. I didn't become a travel specialist to learn to be a travel agent. I became one to learn how that travel agent, how her languages, how she speaks. Some people don't even know. If you take blood, a bride drops blood on her white dress, how do you get rid of that blood? Does anybody know? You take that same saliva in her mouth on a Q-tip and you use that to get rid of the blood. Nothing else gets rid of blood but her saliva. Some people don't know that. So these are the things. If we know everything, we have the best team, the best marketing, the best country. And what makes our country the best are our people. People, why we have the villa business is number one, the people in the villas, the staff, the chefs, the butlers. So keep going, get that heart beating. We can survive it. Pandemic is behind us. Let's go.
Nicola, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm just saying we have to get in some more questions. Are there plans in place for the development of a more eco-friendly type wedding? Kimberly, you want to talk about that? Because I know you do have those that you have done in the past.
Yes. And again, it depends on what eco-friendly means to you. And, going back to some of what Marsha and Peter were saying in terms of customization, that's definitely one of those things that people are very conscious of. We do have options right now as far as, obviously, we are a very diverse country in terms of nature and our ecosystem. So if people want to look at utilizing things that are more eco-friendly, there are definitely options for that and ways to customize that. Everything from, environmentally, the space that they choose, to the materials that they use to have the wedding, to the types of flowers or not flowers that they use, how they repurpose those when they're putting their wedding together. So many a time we've had couples who are not only conscious of budget, because you hear that the most, but also conscious about the carbon footprint that takes place for a wedding. A lot of people I've been hearing more recently feel that having cut flowers is not the way they want to go, because they're like, what's going to happen to them after the wedding takes place? I want something that's going to last a little bit longer. So I'd rather use potted plants. I'd rather use greenery, ferns, things that can be reused or recycled in the environment. We have a big trend right now with farm to table and vegan weddings. So, and as you know, we have really awesome vegan options here. Just going to shout out to Stush in the Bush being one of the more couture vegan options. My brother actually got married there, and the guests didn't miss a meat, and it was just something that at first seemed daunting, but the truth of the matter is, if that's something that's important to you, then we have it here and available. There are very, very few things, I think, outside of the mega yacht experience that's like a hit trend right now in Miami. We pretty much have everything at our fingertips in Jamaica. And I have other event professional friends who have visited Jamaica, who are non-Jamaican, and have attended events here, and have commented that the quality of our production levels are much higher than what they're used to. So suffice to say that when we talk about the availability and the ability to really produce and to customize, as long as we have the time and the bandwidth, because that's also very important, I think that people need to look at this, as Marsha said, as a forward-thinking business. If you have time and bandwidth, we can definitely customize everything from A to Z. It could be something as simple as a menu that is something that's plantable after they're done. You know, we've done a myriad of options when it comes to weddings.
Yes, definitely. And something I see also on trend is persons who want to have some sort of a sustainable or a charitable focus. So
Yes.
we see a lot of that where people want to be able to do things that will benefit a charity from their wedding experience, whether it's going to be, as you said, repurposing some of the decor and
Mhm.
you know, to
Yeah.
so that it can be utilized. So
And I
that's
just want to touch, sorry, I just want to touch on a little point that Peter made earlier in terms of speaking the language. I do feel like as an event professional, you can kind of toe the line between events and weddings, but you do have to understand the language that they're speaking. And I actually had someone from a production company who just started delving into weddings say to me, I really didn't understand the collaborative effort that took place in a wedding. You know, they were used to doing stage shows and corporate events, and they started getting into the wedding business because it kind of transcended that way. And he was blown away. You know, he said, I didn't get that so many people actually work together and kind of cross over a lot of times. So that's one of the things I think we need to also focus on is the language of weddings. We have to remember that this is an emotional time for a lot of people. It is not just the bride and groom's day, it's also the family's day. It's the sister, it's the friend. You know, I have had weddings where I've done weddings for the family. You know, literally, if they have 4 daughters who start with the eldest or sometimes the youngest, and then as the next one gets engaged, you know, you're doing their wedding and the next thing. So you become a part of a family. It's more than, it's a community, it's a family, it's a collaborative effort. I've had brides during COVID where they've had family members pass away and still have to proceed with the wedding. There's a lot of high emotion involved in it. So, you know, you can be someone that can deal with stress, but you also have to understand the psychology of the emotion that goes into something like this. This is something that a little girl or boy has dreamed about their entire life, that a family has saved a dowry for, that they've, you know, whether it could be an arranged marriage. There are so many dynamics that come into play. So, you know, the protocol where that is concerned is understanding psychology of what takes place during a wedding process for a couple.
I think that's very important, and that kind of a research and that understanding and that empathy, because you cannot exactly walk in their shoes, but you must be able to empathize with what they're going through and to give the support. And that means having a good team and training your team and developing your team. And I think, as we mentioned before, Jamaica has very, very good people who are very engaged and want to give you and deliver the best possible experience for you. So that is something that is to our advantage. And we're very passionate about service and giving exceptional service. So that is one of the benefits, I would think, of having a destination wedding in Jamaica. There are obviously a few little things we need to iron out, and as more persons come into the space, more training and development is needed, but we surely are on the right path and are definitely, you know, poised to continue to grow. Kimberly, there's one more question for you, and it's just a short one. How can smaller wedding planners collaborate with you? Do you have a process that you prefer? So maybe you just want to tell them how to contact you, and then you can go for
All right. So easy thing is I'm really accessible. So you could start with Instagram. I have a website just at Dragonfly EXP or Google Dragonfly Experiences. Pretty much every platform I'm on. So you can email me at any time, give me a call or WhatsApp, and then we can go from there. I think that's another thing, is being open to that collaborative effort with other people who want to reach out to you, and also to not be afraid to walk away from clients. And I say that in a sense of not every bride and groom is necessarily fit for you as a professional. One of the key things for me with my clients is not just competency of the vendors, but also what's their style, what ticks them off. You know, if you need a response in 24 hours, I can tell you which vendor is going to give you a response in 24 hours. If you're passionate about a vendor, and you're okay with dealing with their process, meaning they take a little bit longer than others to get back to you, then I'm going to communicate that. So I think don't be afraid to be honest about how you work and whether or not a person's style suits you. Because again, we have a lot of other options that they can go to. And sometimes there are some people that just don't mesh, no matter how competent they are. So I would just leave that as a little industry note for people. I've walked away from a couple of situations that I was like, this is just not going to work for me. And it works great for somebody else.
So it's important, as you said, to network, share your business. Maybe, as you said, depending on what it is someone wants, as a planner, you maybe want to focus on something else and they would be better suited with a different planner. As I said, the good thing is Jamaica has a plethora
Yeah.
of highly competent and professional planners who can work through all of the various needs of our clients, who are very discerning, obviously, and want to have different experiences. We also have a wide range of cost points in terms of the type of
Absolutely.
services that are available. So while you may want to work with a particular supplier or that may not be at a price point that you can afford, and there may be two or three others that we could recommend along the way. All right, so let's go on to another question. So we are obviously looking to make the destination wedding market and profitability there. But if we talked about the diversification of the experiences, is there one experience that maybe you don't want to tell me because maybe you have it up your sleeve that you're going to offer it to somebody one day? But if you could tell us what an experience that you would love someone to actually book, something that you have seen or dreamed about or somewhere on the island that has never been used before or maybe wasn't used in that way. Is there somewhere, let's imagine, and for all the persons who are online and viewing this, let's keep their imagination by giving them some of that essence of what we know is Jamaica. Who wants to go first?
I can go,
Marsha.
because I want us to have everyone elasticize their minds and really expand their hearts about what you can do here. And I want us to talk about it beyond the wedding day, because a big part of capturing all of this is that beyond the I do, Nicola, I want us to really understand so that it can be the Jamaica under the sea that's then captured with leaving from doing underwater capture. And for those who may be scuba diving or snorkeling, envision seaming that together from a video content standpoint that lives beyond, for them to showcase that beyond. And then they're going to some of our iconic or off the beaten path destinations. So they're going into Jamaica, where they are going on these tours that is bespoke just for them. So a bespoke collection can actually be done. And that includes, do they need to be getting images of the ruins? Are they wanting to eat food that truly is vegan? Is not new to Jamaica. Vegan has been around as a part of our culture from our Rastafarian culture. So why aren't we taking the essence of that and taking them on such a bespoke experience where they are followed by their photographer, by their videographer, and then they're getting entertainment that is so indigenous to a certain part of saying, let's get into the Afro-Caribbean infusion, where they're going into and they're drumming and they're going into a spot where that is then captured, and then taking them right back around where they can have an infusion of luxury. So I believe that what we should be seaming together is the authentic Jamaican experience under the sea, to the mountains, and everything in between. We've got the rivers that can be captured. We have the waterfalls. So all of that can truly be a 1 or 2 day experience post the wedding, so that you are showing your wedding is beyond the I do. This is what your honeymoon could look like. This is how it could all be captured. And I'll tell you this, many other destinations are not in a position to capture that like we can. And we've got the resources, we have the collaboration, we have the experts. And at the end of it all, remember what I started with. Folks are wanting to come, and the statistics have proven, if you say to someone, why do you want a destination wedding? I want it to be remembered as fun, exciting, and memorable.
Correct.
And that can be with the couple, or they can bring their, it's so much funner, as we have termed the word, when you're doing that with a host of friends and family as well. And so what about the fresh catch, where you have collaborated and the fishermen come in from with their canoe and they're seeing all of that? Everything should be experiential. And that's what destination wedding can do. And we've done this. We've done aspects of that with some of our couples, where we're saying, as the largest bridal and wedding producers here. We have done these experiences, but what it begins and ends with is really taking time out to qualify our clients and then exceeding those expectations. But there's no other destination that can do it like we can. We have the people, we've got the resources, and what a magical destination.
Marsha for president.
Marsha for president. We'll do it together.
Before you launch into your dream,
Oh, Lord.
and Marsha on the tail end said about the professionals, and you're married to one of them.
Oh, yes.
He's amazing.
A little exposure. So when it comes to that photography, that videography, a lot of our brides are tending to think they have to bring people with them.
Yes.
We have some of the most exceptional photographers and videographers on island that can capture, whether you want drone footage, whatever it is. So I give you a little bit just share with them. So your husband is one of the most renowned ones here in Jamaica. A little bit about that, and then you can give me your imaginative view.
Sure. So it actually segues into a great point, because that's one of the initial conversations that I have even in my discovery calls with potential clients. So I'm married to Dwayne Watkins of Team DWP, best photographer in the world. What I find is, separate and apart from, and this is very unbiased as much as people have a hard time believing it, but I feel like when you really love, and Marsha knows this very well, you know how to position people to capture that. And that's just one of the unique abilities of his craft, is that it's less about the technicality of the photography and more about the emotion and the situation that they're in and what they're trying to achieve when they're in that experience. So in the initial phone calls that I have, we speak about photography off the bat. Because after all is said and done, when the dust has settled, when the food has been digested, when everything else has disappeared, they're walking away with those memories that they've created. And those memories are what they're truly trying to achieve throughout their entire process, is to be able to go back 10, 15 years later when they're coming back for their anniversary celebration, when they're coming back for their daughter or their son's wedding, that they're going to be able to say, do you remember when? And they have that tangible photograph or that 2-minute trailer or that video to say, this is how it was recorded. Especially in this digital world where we no longer really print photos as much anymore. I think it's funny, it's almost even more important, because we so quickly get caught up in the next 15 seconds that we're scrolling through. So the photography and the videography is essential to any wedding day. And as I tell people, it should be pretty much the number one thing on your list when you're planning your wedding, and your experience here is to be able to capture those moments. Especially in a time when we realize that life is so fragile and the fragility of life is very more apparent than it used to be. I really focus and let the brides know that, look, whoever you decide to choose, remember that they're capturing these moments that you'll never get back. I can't begin to tell you how many times my husband has gotten a phone call after a couple has gotten married and they hate their pictures, and they're calling and begging him, can you please reshoot? And the answer is 99.9% of the time, no, because we can't stage that again. We can't, we as professionals, we stage a photo with models, but that emotion that's shared on that day or on the day before when they're picking their auntie up from the airport and they're, taking them to the hotel, or they're in the bus going to their next, let me give Marsha a big up, Island Roots tour. You can't get that moment back. So that's something to definitely hone in on. And I'm glad to see that there are other industry professionals out there that are up and coming. So there's more of an option. And also a lot of international photographers come here. So that's another big point, is that the exposure that is there through other international photographers that are coming to Jamaica to capture weddings is another huge touch point for us as marketing. They're getting a whole other group of people and subsets of people that we wouldn't have normally been exposed to. Those photographers that have 100,000 followers, or their network is huge and they're doing, these metropolitan weddings in New York, and then they're coming to the Caribbean and they're coming to Jamaica to take these pictures. It says 1,000 words. So that is something that is paramount for sure. As far as a dream wedding experience as I've wanted to do, so I accomplished one last year, which was a drive-by wedding, which was amazing. during COVID. They ended up with 13 people, but they had an amazing venue. So there was a little porte-cochere area, and we had close to 30 cars that ended up being all white cars that had decals on them, that had balloons on them, and we were able to stage a drive-by experience. Each person got a mini prosecco as they were coming through, and they got a chance to say hi to the bride and groom, and they got a slice of cake on their way out, which was awesome. But if sky was a limit and budget wasn't an issue, I want to do a multi-destination wedding. So what that would mean is I would want to have different portions of the wedding in different locations. I actually pitched that to that drive-by wedding. I said, you can't get everybody in one place because of the restrictions at the time. So I proposed that we did their ceremony in one location, their cocktail in another location with another set of guests, their reception in another location, and then dessert back at where they started. So if I could do something, I would love to be able to do multiple locations set up at different times, and then the entire wedding party kind of travels like a traveling wedding.
That actually is becoming quite popular. As I was saying earlier, I went to one, they had the ceremony, which was one set of guests. Then they had a brunch. I think you attended that one, Kimberly. Set of guests. And then it was a New Year's Eve, and then they had the New Year's Eve party, which was another set of guests. So that is something that is very much on trend, because not everything, maybe the size of the church, if you're doing a church wedding, can't take everybody, or you want to do something more small and intimate with just brunch for the immediate family. And then, for some younger couples who want to do a blowout party, even though, yes, it's COVID and we have to have those protocols in place, you want to do something a little bit bigger, then you have something in the evening. So lots of options. Peter or Donnie, I don't know if I should ask you, but let me ask Peter.
Well, I was just gonna say, not really on that part, but the photography is very important. The videography is very important. And that's how you help to market your country. Just imagine 20 people at a wedding with a cell phone these days. Everybody is blogging and posting. I remember we did an event at Jamaica Bridal Expo, and we talk about elaborate. I've been all over to expos. It's all pipe and drip. Jamaica goes 100% out. Brides come here, travel agents come here, wonder, where is this? Whenever this was available, and they start to blog, take pictures. 250 million people follow Facebook. 250 million follow Facebook. 2.8 billion are where the young people are, Instagram. No need to say no more. Once those pictures I just saw Kimberly put up with her other weddings, if people start posting them, the bride starts sending that out to her friends, and they know that's a Jamaican wedding. That will turn around Jamaica now to get even the more luxurious weddings to come to Jamaica. There's nothing we don't have. People think we don't have wedding dresses. Most people are not buying dresses anymore. They're renting them. Jamaica has the top designer dresses. People call me and say, do we have real flowers? We have the best flowers. You don't need to import flowers. So we got everything here to make that dream wedding come true.
I think to the point of how do we capture on IG, I mean, there's certain hashtags that maybe we as a community need to start ensuring that we use for all our posts. So obviously Jamaica weddings should be one, luxury Jamaican weddings. So, I think as a community, when we're posting and celebrating what we do, we should also add those tags so that when people start to search on IG or wherever it is and they pick up, and they will be able to see the length and depth and breadth of what is offered. Because yes, if Peter has it over here and Kimberly has it over here and Marsha has it here and Nicola has it here and Donnie has it here, you have to be searching all over. But if we all use those same hashtags, then somebody goes in, they can see everything.
And may I be so bold, Nicola, as chairman of linkages, is to suggest, and I probably hear a buzz about this, that we have a subcommittee of the linkage network that is specific to weddings, because I think that we are generally underserved. And it's not a negative, I'm not saying this to be negative, but I just think that if there was an outlet, an entryway for us to have that conversation on a larger level, so that based on that community that we're trying to create, the hashtags, I will tell you, I've gotten brides because of hashtags, and I didn't even realize as I was doing that. But you know, sometimes you make a little, you make a little gesture, or you make a little, what you think is a little thing, and that ends up being a big thing. But if we want to try to formalize it a little bit more, I think it would be an amazing experience. And I think that all of us would welcome it and would be willing to provide the input that's needed to get all of us on the same page, even if we're in different directions, but at least there is a common thread between all of the wedding professionals. That way we can have that open communication.
Okay, well, that's something we'll definitely take back to the council.
And Kimberly, that's why we started IDJamaicaMagazine.com. It has over 250 suppliers, seeing about 5,000 hits from 80 countries every month. And so far, it's free, but it's used, even including Jamaica Tourist Board uses it at trade shows. So it's good to be on that, because a bride can go to it and see really what is available in Jamaica and choose where she wants to go.
All right, thank you for that, Peter. We have a little bit of a controversial, well, not so much, but a question. And that is, Marsha, it comes to you, but it's, can the panel address the vendor fees that are charged for clients who book their local weddings and local vendors have to come on property?
Sure. So there are two ways to this. There is no vendor fee if someone is staying at the resort. So sometimes you'll have a bride who has chosen her professional that she wants to work along with, and it's not somebody that's within the core bank of what we have. So there's no related vendor fee for that. For other services that we have, vendors that we work commonly with, we're supporting those as primary contacts first. And so that really is more of a protective mechanism. And then the other aspect as well is we also want to be able to preserve a lot of our local existing professionals. And so that's the first line of reference that we work along with. We want to be able to first preserve the local persons that we're working with. So if somebody's coming from overseas and bringing their own professional with them, what we want to do first is to be able to say, if they're staying at the resort, then obviously that comes along with no charge whatsoever. But if they are in fact coming on resort, there is a respective vendor fee for that. We also want to bear in mind that we have professionals that we have trained within our sphere. So we have makeup artists that are employed to us, for example. So the very first thing that we're doing is that's a first line of reference for who is going to be the primary person that we're going to recommend. If they have somebody else that they're working with that they want to bring on, then there's a related vendor fee for some of those too.
Just to clarify the point, I would think for the persons who may not be on the list, there are a lot of hotels that offer you to be a preferred vendor, and you can be on that list. So you need to make yourself known, show them what your services are, let them understand the potential of what you do. But as Marsha said, when you now have a preferred vendor list, the vendor is expecting some support in terms of business referrals to them. So it may be that some hotels may choose to have maybe 10 up to 10 or 5 persons as their preferred vendor. And then that would be when you have a vendor fee that if you're not on the preferred list and the client still wants to use your services, then there may be a fee associated with that. And that's allowing collaboration, but also allowing for some amount of, I would say, constructive way of being able to put out and ensure quality. So I think that it's just a matter of more communication between the vendors and understanding the industry from the hotelier point of view and what are the options that are available to you.
Just from another side, because I would be considered an outside vendor for some of these locations, I think one of the other poignant points is that the vendor fee is not the same across all chains, right? So I don't know if there's a way to implement that so that there is some kind of structure. There's usually a baseline and an average, but from a bride's point of view, sometimes I've heard a range anywhere from $200 all the way up to $1,000 per vendor, depending on who the vendor is. And suffice to say that obviously this is not specific to Sandals, but other properties, is that there may be situations where if it's a local vendor, it's treated a little bit differently than if it's an international vendor. So those are just some of the nuances that we face as outside vendors who are not necessarily in the hotel system, that is a barrier to entry sometimes. And there are a lot of times that actually makes believe it or not, it also changes the decision of the couple. I have had a couple move from a very high-end location because they specifically wanted to use me, and they would not let me be the planner on the property, and they lost that entire wedding. So I was very honored by that, but at the same time I felt bad because this was a really nice location and it would have been an amazing experience. So there's just some of those, and those are working business things that we would have to take offline, but those are just some of the issues that some of us off-site vendors have in locations like that.
Yes. And I guess, as you said, Kimberly, it's understanding and some of the things we need to solve to make it more seamless for any of our potential brides and grooms who are planning their wedding, or wedding planners who are working with us locally. The other question, Peter, they're asking you to repeat the email address for certification or drop it in the chat for the persons online who are interested in getting certified.
Yes, I do JamaicaMagazine.com.
Okay, so I do JamaicaMagazine.com for those who are interested. Okay, now obviously as we continue to grow, there is diversity in everything in terms of our who is coming to Jamaica, as you said, every shape and size. And Jamaica is a very welcoming destination, so there's no limitations on the culture, the experiences, the type of persons, or anything else in terms of experiences in Jamaica. So we just want everyone to know that that's something that we are a very open society and are very much seeking to celebrate all of our diversity. So let us see now. Donnie, you were the last one for that one question that we've been kicking around. If you had an experience that you would like to see a wedding take place in Jamaica, what would be a recommended place? I know you sometimes get into the nooks and crannies of Jamaica. I won't give out your whole life story, but is there somewhere that you have never seen somebody do a wedding that you would think would be an ideal spot?
Well, Nicola, I'm at a loss because I've seen a lot of weddings take place in a lot of exotic areas around the island. I probably saw the first wedding at Dunsborough Falls on the beach many years ago, and I was blown away. It was never done before. Now it's just commonplace. I don't know. I've seen weddings take place on the Rio Grande River. Coming down the raft, the bride and groom came down on a raft, and the reception was on the riverbank. I mean, I guess the diversity of the destination. As I listen, Nicola, to Kimberly and to Marsha and to Peter, you know what I'm getting out? I'm the passion that they all have for this industry. And also, I am also learning. I'm also learning because I did not know, it may sound a little bit ridiculous, the services that are being offered on island. I did not know also, Mr. Shuker, that saliva takes blood off on a wedding dress. I didn't know that, so I'm learning something new. But anyway, that's another story. Nicola, if I can digress a little bit, and the Jamaica Tourist Board's job. And our job is to position Jamaica in the marketplace in the US and Canada and everywhere else as an ideal destination wedding location in the Caribbean. And I think we've gone through a lot of whys, accessibility, diversity, language, which is spoken, and having persons like the Kimberlys of this world and Marsha, and I'm sure there are other providers on island that offer a wide array of activities, diversity, how to do things. You asked me a while ago about locations. I mean, we could go through and spend all day about locations here. But we need to take this, Nicola, to the marketplace. And as you can arm our sales folks with ammunition and where to go, where to get information, how we can sell this to the people in the marketplace that are selling weddings, because you guys deliver. We sell it, you deliver it. So we need to go out and convince the travel agents or the destination wedding sellers that Jamaica is a spot, and you all deliver what we are promising. And I feel confident coming off of this discussion, Nicola, that we have some of the best wedding planners, event planners anywhere in the Caribbean, anywhere, and can deliver on that. You know, I tell you, it is nerve-wracking. I must tell you, nerve-wracking. And we focus on the East Coast of the US, but when you go to these, and I mentioned Wisconsin stuff, coming to a foreign destination to hold your wedding, it's nerve-wracking. They want to know that they have expertise. And I feel good. I really feel good talking to you all, but we need to communicate more to us in the marketplace of what you have on island.
Yeah, I think more specifically to Donnie, not to take away from our hotel properties, which I love, is the offsites. Because I think there's less focus on offsites, those bespoke experiences in the general marketplace. That we need to probably elevate a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important for maybe the team, Donnie, from the JTB to do a little bit more immersive experience of the options, both the resort options as well as the offsite options, and also maybe understanding a little bit more what the vendors can do, and
Yes.
seeing some of those really unique staged and produced weddings, so that they can see that we can go from small and intimate to quite elaborate, large production weddings, 1,000, 2,000 people.
I just had a thought.
And size needed.
I just had a thought, Nicola, and I'm going to do it. I don't think we're going to do it this year. I'll do it next year. I want to, I'll talk about it offline, what I want to do, because I need you all to communicate to the sellers of Destination Wedding, what the offering is. Again, I want it to be repetitive again. So my thought is, I want to bring the sellers of Destination Wedding to you all.
Right. Yep.
All right.
And what's going to make Jamaica business double or triple is so many people are saying that they're offering weddings, whether it's a guest house or a villa or a hotel or a little cottage, but they're really not understanding how to sell that wedding or how to execute the wedding when the bride decides to say they're going to have their wedding there. So we have found that educating people are very important. A lot of people don't know how to reach the brides. They don't know how to market themselves. They don't know what the brides are looking for. They don't know how to find the production companies. And we did a thing called Destination Wed Market, which allows persons to tap into that industry and understand how to sell Jamaica and how to reach the brides, because that's the only way. You don't want a bride to come here and have a bad experience. You don't. Can have one bad experience, as I think Marsha was saying, the 3-4 friends after that ain't coming here. So we need to capture that and back to education and marketing. Very important for Jamaica.
Yes, definitely. So another question we have here: how far out should you take a wedding booking for Destination Weddings? As far out as you'd like.
Exactly. I mean,
there's no limits.
Honestly, I mean, the phones are ringing incessantly, just like how Kimberly said in the last 2 weeks, but in the last couple of months, the phones are ringing incessantly. And, the standard is usually, there's no new standard because of the pandemic, but the standard is usually 12 to 18 months for many. It doesn't mean that you don't have your short-term bookings, but folks are booking straight up to Q1 of 2023, right? It's planning ahead, especially when they want to secure a particular venue.
Yes.
They also have significant dates that they have in mind because their emotional connection with those dates. We're saying, we're ready. Everybody is ready, and start planning, because everybody is in the same mode of we're ready now. So to secure the date and to secure the locations with whomever you're working with, now is the time to do that.
For sure.
I'll also add that we spoke a lot about North America, right? But we are missing also the European market, which when you look at, well, Europe and Asia, because when you look at certain holidays, for example, Chinese New Year, I ended up with two couples who are very specific to the Chinese New Year celebration. And if they can't get it together for February of 2022, they're already looking forward to February 2023. So it's also the nuances of knowing the significance of those things to be able to then customize to your clients and say, this is what will work in that time frame, knowing that it's also our busy season because that's our winter season as well. So that's also why people are planning as far as 2023.
Yes. And as you said, there are definitely some venues that will just book up overnight. So if you want a specific venue or want a specific type of experience, then yes, start planning early.
And I think we're forgetting as well the cruise ships that come to Jamaica.
Just again to the point that kind of ethnic experience, that experience that is more culturally significant. We do have we do Jewish weddings, we do Indian weddings, we do so many things, and we have the kosher food. There are things on the island that people may not even be aware that we can provide. And so those are things that we need to showcase and let persons be aware of. Yes, Peter.
So, like the 24-hour waiting period sometime, and the cruise ship sells them on getting married in Jamaica, but when they arrive on the cruise ship, they don't. They get married inside the cruise ship. They want to get out. They want to put their toes in the sand. They want to say, I do on Jamaica shores. So there are a lot of different things that would have to change, and the Jamaica Tourist Board and the ministry would have to work very tight with that as well. Even dresses, you have to pay duty when you bring a wedding dress. Ridiculous. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that would have to change internally to be able to increase. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't have 100,000 weddings a year. I'm sorry. There's no reason. We don't even know how much weddings we have. We don't have those stats. There's nothing at the airport that says I'm a bride. It says I'm going to a wedding. That doesn't mean you're the bride. And you can't look at the Jamaican, registrar here to get weddings, because a lot of brides that come here were married over there. They come here and have just a mock wedding and have their honeymoon and reception. So the numbers, we need to get a system that when you come to Jamaica, we capture your numbers. That's how I know there's 107,000 weddings in Florida or 100,000 in Vegas. They capture the numbers. We need to capture those numbers. Even if they drop a card into a box to win a 5-night honeymoon, we capture that bride, and then we use that to tell her happy anniversary, tell her Merry Christmas. And, we create that love effect that will make Jamaica number one. Sorry, Donna.
Sorry, Nicola. Are all the licensed vendors? Is the vendors in Jamaica licensed? And are they all on the linkages site? That's one. I also want to tell everybody that we're hosting next year David Tutura.
Yes,
and it's going to be a good opportunity for vendors to express. No, only licensed vendors. And I want to know, so our planning persons that is planning with David Tutura, that there's access to these vendors.
Sure. And yes, we can provide you that list, Donnie.
Okay.
And I'm sure there are more persons who will continue to, get themselves certified as they see the potential for the business. We're about on wrap now. We are 3 minutes to the end of today's program. So I'm just going to, again, just highlight a little bit and then ask each person to give some final thoughts. Clearly, destination weddings has a tremendous impact on the Jamaican society and has potential for even more growth. Being one of the leading Caribbean destinations for wedding and being one of the top or the number one in the Caribbean, We want to see how we can expand our numbers, but also showcase the diversity and the quality and the ability for us to give our brides and grooms just an experience that is, as Marsha says, memorable and unique and authentic. So I'm going to go across the panel, just any last thoughts in a very positive way and how you would like to see us move forward and celebrate and grow our destination wedding market. Starting with, let me start with Donnie.
I think a lot has been said here today. As I said early on, I learned a lot. The Jamaica tour, destination weddings and honeymoons are high priority for the Jamaica tourist board. We totally recognize the value of this, and we go out not across the world and position Jamaica as the ideal destination, wedding destination in the Caribbean, bar none. We just need to talk more among ourselves than what we have to offer. So we're not talking in silos, but we're talking together. So when we go to the marketplace, we are armed with all available information that we can share. But I really enjoyed this session this morning. As I said earlier, I learned a lot, and hopefully we parted a lot of information onto the folks that are on listening. So thank you again for having me. And the Jamaica Tourist Board is a great resource for any information that you need about the marketplace. Thank you, Nicola, and thank you, everybody.
Marsha, we're literally down to 2 minutes, so you have to go fast.
Yeah, destination weddings, without a question, it has the largest impact for linkages. We certainly know that weddings bring guests and the impact on all the different experiences that they can have on the island. And most importantly, to remember that the reach of every wedding couple is beyond that ceremony. It's all about selling the experience and really making sure that Jamaica is positioned as the #1 place to be.
Excellent. Peter, and then Kimberly, your last.
Just want to thank again Jamaica Tourist Board always supporting us. The events we do, the brands we work on. I think they believe in this wedding business, and it's something once we have their support, we're on the right track. And again, we need to just move forward. We need to not be business as usual, and we need to make sure that that bride, when she gets there, remembers this is her second home, and we don't have to do no more than that. They'll sell Jamaica.
Let's not leave out the groom.
Well, yes.
Next week is my 25th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
And there are some grooms, like my husband when we were getting married, who are intimately involved in the wedding planning process. And I've found recently, I have seen more groom planners than bride planners. So let us remember that there is a shift. When we're speaking about weddings, it's not only about the bride, the groom has become very, very active in the wedding planning process. Kim, your last, go.
Just real quick, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for the participation of all the questions. I'm really looking forward to having more of an in-depth conversation with you, Nicola and Donnie, with regards to how we can get the industry to be collectively together and not necessarily as divided and as fragmented as it may seem. Because I think, again, community over competition, there's more than enough for everyone in the pool. We don't have to, compete fiercely without actually collaborating. So I just want to leave with that note that we're stronger together, better together, and Jamaica.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. It has been an excellent panel. We hope all online has really benefited from this. Please feel free to reach out to us and get more information. You can also go to the visitjamaica.com website, as well as the Tourism Linkages Network website for more details. I would just want to thank you again. I'm Nicola Madden-Gregg, who moderated the panel today. And we really appreciate the kind of knowledge that was shared as we move forward in ensuring that Jamaica destination wedding product continues to grow and expand and give those memorable once-in-a-lifetime experiences to the couples and the families and the friends who will be making it Jamaica again and again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.